is also playing really well. This team is terrifying. So we're tied up 1-1 going into the next game. And BLG also accomplished something else in the previous game. Now, Bard is also fearlessly banned.
True.
Not only did they win, but they also don't have to worry about Keria's Bard. So let's see about the draft as we move forward. A lot of these bans staying very similar. Again, still the Nocturne, still the Vayne bans, remaining consistent.
Also seeing T1 with the right of first selection elect blue side, which is something we're seeing a lot more across the course of MSI. BLG did it in the last game. Blue side does have a higher win rate at MSI 2026. They're going to get rid of the Orianna and the Gnar, as on the side of BLG, it is Nocturne and Vayne alongside Xin Shao. So probably Oner's best two junglers taken out of the pool.
Interesting. So still the Jarvan and the Pantheon floating around for the AD jungle options.
True.
Still definitely some good ones. If you want to go team fight, the Wukong, and we mentioned like Wukong Annie combinations can be very, very powerful as well for some good engaged team fight options. So there's quite a few angles for both these teams that they have used very prevalently before. The Rumble ban as well for the top lane. So a little bit of extra focus from T1.
So BLG just look for the Ryze here. It's available. We've seen some Taliyah answers, but Cassio's already out. And Nivea is also a possible answer that Faker has played 9 times this split.
Yeah. I mean, right now, Ryze is in a really, really strong position. But as you say, the Taliyah, a lot of people have been using into it. And you could combo it with a Pantheon jungle. The point and click is so good. And the double globals are also very powerful. So couple of options we could go into.
It's another undefeated champion, though, for Knight. This right, like he has a ton of them. Obviously, his Orianna there as well, but his Ryze is 100% win rate across 4 games with a 13 KDA. Kobe, like he just doesn't die.
So his stats, by the way, I feel like we can read almost any stat for Knight for this split, and it's gonna be insane. All right, there's the Wukong we were looking at. Let's see if they actually do pair it with the Annie, or if they wanted to do the Taliyah answer.
See where they go for now.
With the Rumble and the Gnar ban, there's the Zaahen. Okay.
Unlock in their top side. Zaahen going over to Doran. And now BLG likely to look towards their jungle to make sure they get 2 pinched. Bins Jax, a signature pick that I, as a European, have nightmares about many times across the years. We have seen, and I'll just put it out here right now, some support Jax making its way onto the Rift. The expectation, of course, is this is top lane.
Yeah, especially like that's a specific counter pick if you're playing into another support that is auto-attack based or something. And since Camille's already fearlessly banned, this bad boy is going into Bin's hands for sure. And the Qiyana with the jungle monster modifier buffs that she got, like, is already hard to outsmite Qiyana. But she could be very potent in the team fights with her combo, as well as being really annoying to try and have smite battles against. So Qiyana locked in here for Shen as well.
T1 probably going to look towards mid. Annie Wukong, you've already talked about it.
Yeah.
The fire and wind combination with the Tibbers and the Cyclone. Such good point and click CC. We just need Earth and I can't remember the last one. Water is the one,
The Avatar.
We have the full Avatar state.
Yeah.
It would be great. Great movie. Great movie.
Also, I feel like you could come up with a fire name with a cyclone that's on fire with the Annie combination. But we should go over part of the reason, for other newer viewers, why this combo is so frequent.
Sure.
Is because not only are they different damage types, but having a knock-up rather than having too easy of a Merc Tread angle is always really nice. So Annie, of course, relies a lot on the stuns and the big AoE stuns, and then Wukong can give you your AoE knockup. Quite nice that Zaahen also has a little single target knockup for himself, and he has a little pullback with the displacement. So we'll see into Bin's Jax. It is obviously legendary champion player combination, even though this split he's only played it the one time. And let's look at the bottom lane medic. So often now we've been just rounding out the bottom lanes to deal with all of the topside power that they have seen. And a lot of these, supports have been about roaming and affecting the rest of the map. And so there's the Seraphine ban. The Analyst Desk wanted to see it, but T1 forced to ban it themselves. They don't want to hand over a bottom lane with too much more CC, because they're already looking at some very high damage on BLG's side.
That they are. The Qiyana alongside the Jackson is going to put out a huge amount of DPS. Last ban for BLG. Could look towards something like the Caitlyn. Instead, they'll go for the Lulu to get rid of hyper carries for T1. Like Yanara Lulu, obviously the first one that jumps to mind when you see that Lulu banned away.
And Zeri. Peyz has been styling on us with the Zeri. I experienced it a little bit. I won't say firsthand, but I was pretty close here to the stage as Peyz was running over us with that one. And the Senna, even with the nerfs, everybody's still been on the Senna train. So see if we get a little bit of Senna action here. Of course, the Nautilus was already played, so you don't get that classic combination. But Keria is definitely one to play pretty much anything with it. I mean, I always like how funny it is when you play like the Scion with it or something. You can do like the shout combo, but don't think that's super likely. We'll see what angle they decide to go with.
Vel'Koz.
What in the? Let's go.
Okay, so
we are still cooking.
Ali, let's go.
We wanted more. We wanted more Mage's bottom lane.
Yeah.
I mentioned we saw some of them, some of these pro players practicing the Xerath bottom lane, but Vel'Koz bottom lane, super long range damage. Let's see if he can cook the Senna early on before the Senna can get extra range from the souls. In lane here, Viper. Oh my goodness. Viper was always a player too that had such a wide and diverse champion pool, played for so long back in the previous metas when we had mages. And now with a Vel'Koz, baby. Okay, Leona point and click. That is pretty good. The Solar Flare is very good answer to Vel'Koz ulti.
You have a lot of CC from the side of T1, and then you have a lot of damage and CC alongside it from the side of BLG, but T1's feels a little bit easier to execute. Point-and-click stun with the Annie, point-and-click stun with the Leona, the Wukong there with the Cyclone follow-up. Where on the side of BLG, you're looking at, can you get the counter-strike onto the backline? Can you hit the supreme display of talent? Can Ryze get in range to get a Rune Prison down? Can the Alistar find a good flank for his headbutt pulverized? This is going to be a bloody affair. You have to feel it. As soon as one team gets the ball rolling, they should be able to wrestle control away from their opponents. Question is, who can get that lead in the early game?
Yeah, I mean, there is so much damage flying around here. Oh, it is going to be explosive. And we have tied this series up as well. It's 1-1. No threat of a 3-0 today.
Well, there was one today. It was
now.
Yeah, true.
No more threat, I guess.
I'm having a quick look. I don't know if you had a mosey to see what Vel'Koz bot lanes we have seen in the past.
Well, for pro play, there haven't been any yet.
Ever.
For this split. Just for
this split does make sense. Okay. I'm looking at it. I can see 5 all-time in the top regions. I'll see if I can get the match list up and have a mosey at that, because it has been a long, long time. And I did think when we got into that portion of the draft, maybe it would be something like a Mel. But instead, the Vel'Koz with that Plasma Fission, with that extra range.
If you're looking at the top 4 oh yes, the spaghetti skin. Oh, it's like squid ink spaghetti with the chroma.
True.
I do like that. This, by the way, this is an all-timer skin. This thing is actually so hilarious. I'm actually okay that it is sometimes hard to distinguish from actual Vel'Koz. But we're having to look at this level 1. They're wrapping around. They're going to find On early.
On caught out. Keria looking for the Shield of Daybreak stun. We'll get it. On has to pop the heal to run away. Does have that onto spell, but Shun waiting around the corner though. Peyz with the ghost, and now it's going to be a 3v2 in favor of BLG. But Shun is having none of it. He just wants to farm his camps. Another Shield of Daybreak onto On. Forces him down to half health, and T1 winning out on the early trade.
Such good movement from the T1 bottom lane there. Peyz, no hesitation, he pops the ghost. He positions very aggressively. He walks up, he keeps dodging abilities, and the T1 bottom lane got a big, big health chunk advantage. However, Shun, after the blue buff, he's gonna go walk over the T1 ward on Raptors. You can see it on the minimap right now. He's moving in, and Faker wants to protect those Raptors. He's gonna harass Shun while he's on them, gets the stun, and the electrocute proc for a little bit of extra damage.
As Oner went in and stole away the red and the Razor Beaks as well, so he is going to have a camp advantage overall while all of this was happening. Shun likely to path into his top side and be like, what's left for me there? Are my Razor Beaks up? The answer is no. And after realizing that, could look for the invade, but smartly, Oner is now pathing over towards that blue side, realizing that's Shun's major option. Counter-strike onto Doran, though. We'll get the knock-up back onto Bin, who hits level 3, and Doran has to Aureate Rush. to get himself out of there. Shun is on this blue buff. Does have the smite, as does Oner. Oner's going to have a level advantage as he takes away his wolves. Oh, not quite. Didn't quite get the level 2. Smite fight between the two of them. Shun takes it. Faker's on his way across. No molten shield for the extra movement speed means that Shun will be able to walk away wounded, but evening out those camps.
Nicely done. Again, it's pretty hard to outsmite Qiyana. I mean, level 2, though, even definitely possible there. So good job by him. He pulls it back, gets that one. Faker taking some extra damage under tower. I always like watching Bin play Jax matchups, by the way. He plays so aggressively early on and very frequently will do this recall here. So he was able to harass Doran so heavily, push him under tower, get the push for himself, the early recall into a cull pickup.
Flash from Knight! Oh, Faker's reaction flash just in time. The Rune Prison did connect, gets the root. Knight now, Faker staying around, gets the level up. It's an extra 100 health for him. Shun looking for the invade down towards the red side. Oner looking towards the mid lane, trying to bail out Faker. Molten shield, the overload enough. And Knight can now walk towards his jungler, just steps away. Oner rooted still. The monkey enough with his staff to take a 1-for-1.
So first blood, extra money still goes over to Knight, even though the assist also has extra money on the side of T1, and Oner getting the actual kill credit. So you're just moving resources in a little bit different spots for each team. Faker moves up, he puts on the shield to try and survive this, but Knight had a really good Q there as the stun was landing on him. So his Q got out and does get the first blood kill onto Faker as the play is taking effect. And then of course, it also required an extra flash. Oner used his flash to close the distance there. So Knight doing a very good job for himself as Faker was trying to move up and create the play. And he still doesn't have flash on Faker's side either. So Shun on a ward. Can Faker waste more of his time? It's probably too dangerous to... Oh, here comes
Oner also on a ward. Shun has the audacity to put that damage down as Knight gets electrocuted, but thankfully not standing in any water or anything, so that electrocute won't do a huge amount of damage. It's fine. It's got his rubber shoes
Gotta
on.
Be careful. Gotta be careful with those like Pokemon synergies.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Well, top side, Bin is going for another recall, and Doran invested his teleport already. So Bin now going to get his teleport back out. And again, he went back for the early cull, so it's looking quite nice for Bin up in the top lane on the Jax. Meanwhile,
good tectonic
Peyz
rift out of Viper. Looking to stack up that passive as much as he can. Doesn't quite land the plasma fission, so won't have as much damage as he wants. On's around mid. The unsealed spellbook currently sitting on flash and heal. Oner's going to face check, and on... in that battle, the monkey beats out the cow. On stays around because Shun is in the area. Flash in, looking for Faker. Molten shield heal for the movement speed. Knight here with level 6. Shun coming in from the side as well, and Faker has no way out. Knight secures his second.
A BLG classic. Shun and On link up. They play around Knight. They go mid lane. They punish the flashless Faker. They get the kill. Huge for BLG. Knight in a very good position again after a monster game on that Swain. Now his Ryze gets a turret plate, gets another kill for himself. And they also have this Vel'Koz in the bottom lane that we haven't had the camera on a lot, but in the meta where supports have to go mid a lot, and there's a lot of alone time down there in the bottom lane, it is quite good for the Vel'Koz to get that push. And Viper was working away at that first turret plate. It's very close to going down.
Yeah, as you said, it has a huge amount of range compared to the Senna early game at least as well, before you get towards those 100, 200 stack marks. So because of that, Peyz has to play so safely, so far back that Viper can just continually step up. Tibber's used in the mid lane just for a little bit of push here on tonight.
Exactly. Range and AoE, the two key factors here for really good isolated laning. So you can get the push, and then once you have the push, you also get to harass them and poke them under tower. So really, really good pick in isolation. The problem would come, of course, if you get a Leona engaging on you and you get ganked and stuff like that. But as of right now, it is looking quite nice for them. He does get to the early level 6.
And that problem is the same for a lot of mages. Like if you pick Mel and then Leona solar flares him as well, he's in just as precarious a situation, right? So I like the Vel'Koz leaves Mel open for later on in the draft. We'll see what BLG can do with it in this game. They currently have a 1.6k gold lead. Most of that sitting on Knight in the mid lane, who's 700 gold ahead himself.
Nice
Organic disintegration ray onto Peyz as he tries to step back. That's have not quite procced. The second time from Viper. Great combo, as you say, and now Peyz down at 300 HP under this tower.
Yeah. They get the shove again, so they've got bot lane priority, and that means, guess what? Mid lane, you have to respect it. Jungle, you have to respect it, because On is here. On has free time. Keria trying to match.
Peyz. Not quite able to get connected there from the tectonic disruption with the knock-up. Void Rift would have done quite a lot of work, but even with the prio there, I expected BLG to look towards something like a dragon. They went for a little bit of vision, but Keria marked On well, which meant that he wasn't able to find a good flank. So good job from T1 to negate some of the pressure points that BLG had in that moment.
Yeah, they're holding on. BLG doing a good job increasing their lead, but as you say, T1 defend in a precarious position that some more things could have been lost. They still get their own, jungle for the most part, and on bottom side, Peyz avoids death, and he also avoids having to use a summoner spell to dodge some of those Vel'Koz spells, so he critically does have still both of those available, and you're looking at BLG. How can they progress in snowball? A lot of this is Bin having, very good matchup for himself with his Jax, playing it really nicely into Doran with his early call and his huge CS lead and constant pressure there. Still, despite that, they only get the one grub for BLG, and Oner's going to be able to move in there with Keria. They push him out, and then get the other two for T1.
Knight was moved down towards the bottom lane as they tried to play around the grubs. You want extra man advantage in mid lane, so you have Viper across there. Faker's going to be able to match into Viper, though. Just needs to dodge away from those plasma fissions, and we'll see the swap coming back as Viper goes down into the bottom lane.
And it plays really nicely into BLG's plan for this game. Their side laners are going to be very powerful, Ryze and Jax. And with Knight getting those early kills, getting that Q out and getting the first blood kill onto Faker was very, very critical. And then these repeat plays where he gets On and Shun ganking for him and playing around mid are critical.
And now it's the punish, right? Faker has no flash. He'll always have a stun. He can use Tibbers to try and push out the wave. But does Shun come back? Does On come back? Or can Knight just 1v1? With the Rune Prison, he has a lot of damage already. On here for the push out to make sure that Faker has to stay around. Because they're doing the Dragon as well, you want to make sure that Faker can't just, go TP back in with an extra item. He needs to be occupied, which allows Shun the free time, knowing there's no threat from the mid lane.
Okay, so mid stage of the game approaching fairly quickly, almost at the 10-minute mark, as BLG had a very strong and smooth lane phase for themselves. A couple of fun early kills, but Bin, again, getting this presence here, goes in for the trade onto Doran, waving a pretty good spot for himself as well. And they're keeping a lot of deep vision through jungle. So you just saw Oner there, the Wukong going for his red buff. Guess what? They've got that deep ward in the jungle. They see the whereabouts of T1 support and jungle. Keria just passed over the Raptor ward that BLG have as well. So they can keep track of those playmakers, and that allows Bin to constantly continue to go for these trades in the top lane, uninhibited. Meanwhile, Knight himself is just nursing this 1,000 gold lead and constantly threatening, hey, I could realm warp over to you as well.
This is so often how BLG win. They just get pressure in their two solo lanes. Viper is able to neutralize bot in whatever manner that means. And because of the pressure, they just slowly eke the game away from you. Sometimes they don't push the tempo as much as they could, but often they are very good at just incremental. Two minions per wave you miss, and I get. You're just slowly building up that extra gold, an extra plate here or there. For T1, sometimes their laning phases can look like this as well. Can struggle as the solar flare comes into the mid lane, but this is what they're so good at doing, is making plays and finding picks, and Peyz picks it up from the bot lane.
CC combo. I want to see the death recap. How many seconds was Knight CC'd there? Barely got to move at all. Faker starts it out. Nice play from him. And the answer from Keria. He is within range. He invests his flash, his ultimate. They follow up the CC. They get the kill, but now he's under attack. Look at the mini-map here. Shun's going for it.
Looking for the damage here onto Faker. Supreme Display of Talent doesn't get the CC, but On is there to close it out as Faker falls to the Alistar.
Mid lane is just a playground for jungle and support for both teams. It's jungle and support difference always.
Constantly there. Constantly there.
T1 gank it first, they get the kill, but then BLG gank it right back.
It's a risk for Doran as well. He's underneath this tower. Cultivation of War, that passive, nowhere near stacked up for him. You can see Keria moving out on the map as well to try and track where On has been. On Did get spotted on vision. Shun is here as well. No supreme display of talent for the Qiyana. Is Oner just out of vision right now? TP in. BLG look for the engage. Unbreakable Will popped on the Alistar. Grim Deliverance coming out from Doran as he tries to dash away. Oner here for the fray, but look at the damage coming out from that Vel'Koz. Shun takes one, and BLG just able to walk out with a single kill.
Interesting, yeah. They do have Viper teleporter all the way up here. If you're looking at the Senna, though, is going for a recall for Peyz. So Static Shiv, he didn't have a Static Shiv previously, so he's like, all right, it's going to take way too long for me to try and continue push on bottom side. So I'm just going to get my Static Shiv first here, and we're just going to have to accept the death of Doran.
I was expecting a lot more out of that play, I'll be honest. I thought Oner coming in would be able to change it, but then you have to look at that ultimate timer. Didn't have the Cyclone. If he does, a very different state of affairs under that top lane tier 1.
I mean, it's been rough for Doran here. Bin now finishes Trinity Force, so he is paid off. His call has been popped, his lane has been ganked, and he is looking dangerous. Level 11 for Bin with his Trinity Force power spike. It was already looking pretty tough there for Doran, but after getting ganked and now no ult, no flash, no teleport on him.
Yeah. I mean, it's looking pretty tough for all of T1. Let's be honest, let's not mince our words. An 88 gold lead is the only bit of blue I see amongst the sea of red down towards that bottom side. 1,000 gold lead for Bin, 1,000 gold lead for Knight. Even On has almost 550 gold ahead of Keria. He's got his locket complete. The item spikes are going to be so much quicker for BLG.
And here's another look at it. BLG, they're going to just run over this play. Full overload, 5 members, teleport over, roam here from Knight. On can easily start it out. Alistar can just tank for days, so they have plenty of damage, and they can follow Doran. Yeah, he uses ult for one side, uses the flash, but you're not getting away from 5 members and a Vel'Koz ult.
It wasn't actually Viper's damage in the end. It was a Voltaic Cyclo Sword from Shun that got that big burst bit of damage. And in the end, like BLG, as you say, just overman them, outnumber them in the top lane.
And with these comps, if T1 are to find salvation, it has to come in the form of team fights. BLG are set up with such good side laning opportunities. Again, I have to stress this, but here we go. BLG Viper locks in the first bot lane of Vel'Koz at a major event, as you could see there. Yeah. But yeah, I think it does have to come in the form of team fights for T1 if they're going to be able to, come back in this game, in this particular series, because BLG's side laning is just going to be so strong.
It's a real struggle so far for T1 in the last couple of games. Shun going to start up the Drake. 15 minutes in, a little bit slow on a second Drake, and in fact, he's just running away from it. Viper will come across, and as the patience wears out, the Dragon will run back to the pit, but now with the TP in, it looks like BLG happy to restart it. Will be their second of the game, and Team 1 just waiting to find a way that they can use this wombo combo. It feels difficult for them overall, Kobe, to actually find a way to make their composition come online.
Yeah, I mean, Peyz also only has 22 stacks here on Senna, because guess what? The melee supports are mostly roaming. They're not there, and it's very difficult to stack off of Vel'Koz in your lane when Vel'Koz is constantly pushing you in. So also going to be pretty far off of the stacking there, but here we go. Do BLG actually want to bring Bin? Because as of right now, he's staying bottom lane, and they just want the Jax to get the first turret on bottom side, even though T1 are able to get this Rift Herald. If BLG are able to get first turret bonus for Bin, that's quite nice.
And none of their towers that low at all. In fact, T1 have only got 1 plate anywhere on the map so far. Bin takes the first tower, extends his gold lead to almost 2K. And he's going to be on that second item pretty sharpish for T1. The fight that they perhaps wanted around Rift Herald didn't materialize. They are still trying to scale up. Double Triforce complete for Doran and Oner, but with Knight stepping forward, Rod of Ages stacked up. The Seraph's on its way. Doran might struggle to defend this. No one really on this side of the map for BLG, though, means that Doran is a little safer. Knight steps back, though, Rune Prison overload, and yeah, Doran down at half HP.
Yeah, so side lanes. I know I'm like, I keep bringing it up, but it's going to be painful.
It's what we thought would happen, right? Coming into this series, the expectation was as Knight flashes in with the Rune Prison, gets pulled back with the Dreaded Return, tries to get out with the Realm Warp, but Knight just ints it under the tower. Shun with the Supreme Display of Talent will stop Oner, but with the clone and the flash, and the Cyclone Shun with a good audacity across the wall manages to escape. On with a knockback onto Keria. Zenith Blade just whistles behind his back.
Oner sees Doran getting the solo, and he's like getting real hypey with it himself too, even though Qiyana has the extra jump and is able to escape. But yeah, Knight tries to make the play under tower here, wants to go for the flash play onto Doran, who reacts very quickly, gets the counter kill for himself. Despite that, I still maintain I think it is going to be rough in the side lanes. However, that does give you that hope for T1. See what they can create with it, because Doran getting some money back is very big. Keria under attack for now, but should be fine.
Does have to use the solar flare though. Wanted to make sure that Viper couldn't get close enough to tectonic disruption and get that knock up into the follow-up. Vel'Koz has a ton of damage when he gets his passive procced properly. BLG still 3.6k ahead, and as you say, it's still going to be difficult in the side lanes. When your hope is, hey, maybe Knight flashes under my tower and tries to kill me when he doesn't need to, that's not the biggest hope, in all honesty. That's a tiny pinprick at the end of a long, dark tunnel. And T1, though, do still have these engage tools. They still have great burst on their side. They still have a lot of CC on their side. It just feels like the game is slowly slipping out of their fingers.
Yeah, and I think we might have to see them throw down the gauntlet at the next team fight. So here it is. So Knight, he gets the flux on him, and then he wants to go for the play. Q flash into the tower, and he gets W'd into the instant knockup from Doran, and they slap him down. They also, for good measure, Senna ultimate.
Justified reaction, I think, because he didn't need to do it, is the other thing. He was already winning out that lane pretty handily. For BLG, that happens sometimes. Get a little bit overeager, take fights that perhaps aren't on exactly the terms that they want.
Yeah.
And it does slow down the game a little bit as well, because now Knight doesn't have flash. And so his side lane threat a little bit more difficult to actually execute.
Deathfire touch ticking. Gotta get used to it. Okay, let's see though. So even in the world where BLG get their first push on these side lanes, we're still looking at how can T1 create an angle to get their engage for their team fight, for their possible comeback here. They do have a problem here as far as vision approaching Dragon, because BLG, as we just saw, thank you observers, have done a very good job setting up all of the roads leading to this Dragon. And shouldn't even lying in wait to see if anyone wanted to challenge Bin, but nobody wants to challenge Bin anyway. They don't have anyone who could take this 1v1, even if it's just a 1v1. So no one going to step up there. Doran's going to play patient at his tower. He knows.
Now have a look at the Coinbase gold grind between Bin and Doran. 2,000 on the dot, pretty much, and a lot of that coming from those towers. An extra K going in for Bin. 2 items complete for him as well, with the Triforce and the Sundered Sky.
Yeah, money is one thing. And then when you have the actual weapons in your inventory, that's another thing too. So very dangerous there. And here comes the Dragon.
Rifto is going to be put down by T1 in the mid lane. Looks like it is just for that singular charge, for a little bit of extra gold in their pockets. As you say, gold doesn't do damage, but it buys you things, big sticks that can do it. And the Drake should be pretty easily secured by BLG. You can see T1 not even contesting it. Faker relegated to a side lane to try and pick up any gold that he can off the map. We'll be able to take down that tier 1 in the top side.
Yep. They're just building towards their big moments. Either Dragon Soul fight or some Baron shenanigans, perhaps. Maybe a little circus around the Baron.
I mean, that's a T1 special, isn't it? Doran now needs to get out. Orient Rush, look for gold, looking for an escape, but Knight and Bin are just too big. Grim Deliverance gets in with the Dawning Shadow, gets the Cultivation of War, that passive just in time to be resurrected. The Dawning Shadow from Peyz saves his top laner's life.
So they're out with the heist. The Senna ult buys enough time, allows Doran to fully stack his passive so he can get the revive. But then also, Knight and Bin can escape very quickly with the Realm Warp. So they go for the big play, then they escape. Couple ultimates traded from both sides, but not too big of an investment.
Just looking to clip his wings in the side lane if they could. As you say, no ultimate, no flashes burnt or anything, so it doesn't matter too much.
They want to do a little DPS check, see if it can make the play quick enough.
And they couldn't. Well, they could, but then Peyz is like, excuse me, sir. I would prefer it if you don't kill Doran.
I like him better alive.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, Doran's finally got to his second item now.
Nice.
After being kept alive and being able to farm the rest of that wave.
Faker has his second as well with the Ryze complete, as does Oner. Thunder Sky now coming in. 2 items across the board actually for T1, matching at least in terms of completed items where BLG are. So this is one of those opportunities that T1 could look for, but BLG are the first to strike as Keria is forced to use his Locket and his heal.
Okay, a little bit drawn out in that support combat there, as you say. Some fairly short cooldowns.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, T1 getting the push back on both the side lanes. Faker does get access to top lane. He's going to be able to push this first as Knight looks for a roam. Is Knight coming mid? Knight's coming.
Knight's coming down. Keria goes in with the Zenith Blade. Solar Flare doesn't hit as the Zenith Blade misses as well. The Cyclone comes out from Oner. That's 2 ultimates burnt by T1. Did have to use the flash, did Shun, to get away. Counter strike. Not caught out and not countered either by the dreaded return. Lifeform disintegration. Ray is living up to its name. Eponymous, you could say, as Faker taken down to a 3rd HP.
And Faker just teleported there, and he just immediately gets zapped for 70% of his HP. Now he's going to have to go back to base. T1 down some decent cooldowns this time around. Good little feint there from BLG, making T1 use a couple of more small tools, but those little things do add up when you're fighting this team.
Yeah.
BLG very good. Even little cooldowns, they can definitely punish you for those.
In terms of big cooldowns in that fight, though, it was Shun's flash, was the only massive one. Yes,
Teleport,
Solar Flare is down. Teleport too, as you say, Faker towards the mid lane. Knight's TP not down, and we do have a TP advantage for BLG because Viper is running it on the Vel'Koz. You can see how much BLG are investing around this top side. They know the Baron, a possibility for T1. Supreme Display of Talent lands the stun. Keria is going to have to flash the wall. And does manage to extricate himself. But that was a little greedy, it felt, from T1. Only Keria and Oner in the vicinity. Spotted on a ward as well. Keria will have to reset his recall position to get out.
Second time T1 trying to invade to get access for vision around Raptors and leading over to Baron. And BLG still there, ever vigilant in their defense of their jungle. Now at the tower.
It's the clone. Oner puts a bit of damage down onto On. So the devastating blow, not too much on that Alistar right now. Still about the same gold lead as it was 5 minutes ago. 3.7k here for BLG. And although they have managed a couple of moments of upping the tempo and that bot lane tower sits at only 2 plates, Bin hasn't really been able to force Doran too low recently, and now with Keria coming across, it might be Bin who's in for a world of hurt. Keria backs away, Bin does the same. Looks like it's just going to be vision for the T1 support.
Yeah, a couple of times this series, Doran has been able to take down Bin with the help of some of his teammates. So threatening it again, but Bin respects it and backs off this time. Merc treads for both of them on both sides. Lots of CC on both sides, of course, so definite value there as we approach the dragon.
Yeah, 30 seconds on this Drake. T1 trying to set up as much vision around it as they can because they know BLG will want this soul. TP coming out from Knight towards that mid lane as well. BLG do have the option of going for the Baron. It would only be T1's first dragon of the game. They haven't been able to secure that neutral at all. On puts a little bit of vision across the wall, and BLG actually slightly split here. Knight does have the Realm Warp to join up with the rest of his squad, but T1 are looking for him instead. They'll take the tower as the price for forcing Knight back. Shun going down towards the bottom side. BLG looking for a long, long flank, allowing Bin to push in the bot side. Knight coming in from the mid lane as well as T1 will start up the dragon.
Yeah, BLG, they've got both lanes pushing, as you say, and T1 have the pressure. They're going to start DPSing this dragon, get it low. Shun could look for a steal. They're going to teleport in.
TP from Bin. Shun trying to get across the wall, will manage to do so. Knight now has that flank position. Keria stepping forward, onto On. The stun onto Knight. Bin tries to jump onto the back line, and the Drake is secured. It's sold for BLG. Meanwhile, in the middle of the fight, Grim Deliverance coming out from Doran. The Dawning Shadow, this time not as much. His friend doesn't give him a massive shield. T1 forced back, and the size of the wallets for BLG will just force a T1 out of the fight. A soul in the MasterCard priceless moment and a kill on Doran.
And BLG are calm in this critical moment. Shun able to secure it. The Dragon Soul acquired and the extra gold. You have to feel like this is now going to be an easy setup for Baron itself, and then they can use that to actually push on the towers and end the game.
At T1, they have Knight by himself towards the top side of the fight. They land the CC and they just can't burst him down. He's too tanky. Now has the Rocket Belt alongside that Rod of Ages and the Seraphs, and yes, he did have to use his flash, but BLG probably don't care too much. Ding ding, let's go again. Round 2, this time at the Baron buff. Team 1, this is so often their playground, but 5k down, it's difficult to find the way into the fight. The Mega Blast Cone for Oner, as you say, no Cyclone, no ultimates. Tibbers up in 2 seconds time. Bin keeps Oner at bay. Faker trying to step forward, has the flash, has the Tibbers. Does he have a way in? Supreme display of talent, and the Baron going over to BLG. Oner already dead. Faker trying to step forward, but even with Tibbers by his side, all he gets is a hug goodnight as his screen fades to grey. And the rest of T1 will join him in the death chamber. Route onto Peyz. Knight still chasing. Doran with a good pull back will slow up Shun, and Peyz may be able to walk away. BLG still on the chase. On goes on to Doran. Knight will follow suit. There's the Rune Prison. The disintegration ray burns through T1's hopes. Only Peyz left alive.
And this game of the series has been all BLG. Pressure from the very beginning, and they're not even done.
Peyz pays the price as Shun finds another, and as you said, in game after game 2, it is not only Knight and Bin who are stepping up. Shun is having an incredible series. It will be the inhibitor in the mid lane. 28 minutes in, the respawns coming out means that BLG cannot close this one out yet.
Yeah, Shun able to get the last 2, secure them with that Qiyana. So much damage. And BLG, from the very beginning, I mean, having so much control. Knight still getting that first blood in the mid lane while getting ganked, then getting the repeat ganks. Let's catch up with this Baron though, because they're looking at the steal. Oner gets in, he's stolen so many objectives. He gets CC'd up so he can't combo with anything. So nicely done by BLG there. Shun's able to secure it, and then they clean up the team fight. But if we also look back at how we got here, the BLG solo lanes, this is the big question that everyone was like, how and who is gonna answer BLG solo lanes? And in game number 3, there wasn't an answer.
No one has been able to stand up to that challenge. And BLG, although it was a slower early game, they eked out leads. Grim Deliverance being used by Doran in the picture as the Lifeform Disintegration Ray comes out. BLG able to force Doran away. Another ultimate down for T1. The inhibitor down in the mid lane for the next 3.5 minutes. This Red Bull Baron power play may just be a game-ending push. BLG with 3 towards this top side. Zoom going towards mid, and Knight pushing through that mid lane. T1, I mean, it feels like you've got to pull the trigger at some point. You never know when your best moment to win the game was, but I can tell you every second that passes, it is becoming less and less likely that T1 find an engage that really, really satisfies them. For BLG, they can just do this. You've got 30 more seconds, you've got another wave of the Baron push, perhaps. T1 can hold off from losing another inhibitor tower, perhaps not Kobe.
Perhaps not. BLG closing in with their Baron buff. The siege continues. Vel'Koz poke, but nobody's actually getting there to hit the towers. Just the buffed up cannon minion that's doing most of the work for BLG. Supers in mid lane are getting cleaned up by T1. They're dealing with those fairly effectively and holding their own. Basically, T1 are looking for the miracle of the Elder Dragon flip.
Warp on behind enemy lines. The cow is here and he knocks back Doran. Grim Deliverance comes out, hits onto a ton. Dawning Shadow there as well. BLG needs to use the stopwatch for Bin. Supreme Percent talent, not going to land the stun. And T1 will see these kills in their mind's eye. But BLG disengage it well. They decide, okay, the engage was not as good as we wanted. Let's just walk away. We have the wallets to play with. We have this 11k advantage. We have Elder up in a minute. We do not need to force the issue.
Yeah, a lot of stuff missing here, and everyone's gonna call it off after that defense. And so, again, I think we are just looking at this Elder Dragon. It's only 1 minute now, so for sure the approach is gonna be difficult for T1, but thankfully with the Chemtech Rift, you know, you do get these empowered Scryer's Blooms that can help you out with a lot of vision, and so they're popping those, trying to get an avenue in order to possibly get a flip or steal or something around this super powerful endgame objective that can possibly be the dream in retaking games. But you have to say, BLG here with the Chemtech Soul, with the extra item advantage, they're just looking massive. I mean, Knight is level 18 with Actualizer Ryze. This guy is going to put out massive amounts of damage, and Bin has his Zhonyas on his Jax as we saw him use, so he can jump in with his flash, he can make initiation plays, and
you just have to look at item disparity as well. Knight's at 4, Faker's at 2.5. as we see a fight over the red buff. On goes in. Now look for the damage onto Keria. Bin tries to jump in with the counter-strike, but Keria has to flash to escape the clutches of BLG. Elder is up. Keria now without 2 summoners. Still has the Solar Flare, but BLG are just saying, okay, we can wait it out. Continue to push in. We don't have to force this Elder. We can let you overstep into your own jungle. We have total control of it. As the empowered Scryer's Bloom used towards the mid lane. Dawning Shadow used for vision. And Bin continues to push in the bot side. He does need to be a tiny bit cautious. He is the only one down here. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the waves are pushing in. And Bin has TP. Triple TPs, remember, for BLG. Knight's currently on cooldown.
And look at the supers. The supers are going to be on your Nexus tower, so BLG are playing with them. They're trying to keep him here.
Counter-strike from Bin. Doran counters it by walking away, and he's the one to answer. That's Faker in the base. Peyz trying to push out the bot side. Shouldn't clears out the far side alteration. No tools really available for T1 to check this easily anymore. And there's the second far side alteration. Now no tools, unless they have a third, which is possible.
The Vel'Koz poke is really annoying too. You know, props to Viper, even though the spotlight was on the solo lanes.
Oh, Doran slowed. Counter-strike in. Supreme Display of Tanic Grim Deliverance. Well used. Doran with a good knock-up on. It's going to distract the rest of T1 towards the side, though. Solar Flare lands on tonight. The Realm Warp's not going to get them out. And there's a Cyclone on the back line. Peyz trying to come in. Shouldn't force away, but Oner's already dead. And I'm afraid BLG have just bought too much grace through this early game. 12k buys you a lot of mistakes. And this time, they will not make more. Faker and Peyz forced back to the base. And Bin wants a little bit more piece of this action. Flashes forward, has the stopwatch still. The Chemtech Drake helping him as he's on low HP. Only Peyz and Faker left to defend. But it looks like BLG will come up trumps in this game. So long T1 have been the perennial boogeymen of the LPL today. BLG tried to prove that wrong. Faker down. The Nexus Tower's next. As Peyz, once again, the last man standing for T1, and BLG bear him no mind as they go to match point.
Game 1 was close. T1 take it. Game 2, BLG had a great counter pick. Game number 3, BLG just had 3 pushing lanes.